Greetings, good folks. This is vk3sl. Welcome to an evening program. Back on board for evenings on Fridays, Friday missions, all of that. Hey, Frank, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Steve. And yourself?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Had a big day.
Had a huge day. Did a great bushwalk today, actually. It was wonderful. We had perfect weather and got up onto the Bulbul Plateau. Left in reasonable time and had about 4 hours up the mountain, and it was just still, it was warm, it was just magnificent. It was just very beautiful. So, yeah, it was one of those sort of real just days that just had a really lovely rhythm to it, and it was leisurely, and there was still ice on the mountain, but it was the ice structures were just beautiful, and we took lots of photos, and we had lots of stops and starts and looking at nature. And
Snow?
Yes, a little snow, not a lot.
Right.
But the Bulbul Plateau is just a remarkable.
It was very sunny down here.
Yeah, it's a remarkable area because it hasn't been burnt. Most of Australia's Alps have had hot fires go through them over the last couple of decades.
Yes.
And it creates so much problem. And when you get a hot fire in the Alps, it does untold damage because the snow gums just don't cope with fire, and they're such slow-growing trees. Such a shame. But look, the Bulbul Plateau hasn't been burnt since 1939, I don't think. And so it's just remarkably intact. It's this microcosm of perfect alpine scenery, and it's just at the cusp of the snow line. So it's the tree line, I should say. Yeah, so magnificent, really good. We didn't get back until a short time ago, so I won't go late tonight. Just a short, it's just catching up, and won't be around tomorrow afternoon. We're going to a concert, going to hear the Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto with the MSO tomorrow night with, what's her name, famous young pianist. She's...
Yes, I know,
it's on. She's on the tip of my tongue. I've heard it play recently. It'll come back to me, but yeah, it'll be a great concert. So
that sounds really good. We'd better just say this is VK3JR on 145.04 FM in contact with VK3SL on 1.865.
That's right.
AM.
Indeed, and we also go out on UHF on 433 megahertz as well.
That is it.
Yeah, so that's where we stand, and it's been some time before we've had Friday evening missions. We've had a little bit of a break from those because of school holidays and such, but it's nice to be back on. So
that's why we're doing housekeeping. I can't make it Sunday evening. We're having a birthday party for David.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that sounds good.
It's a big one with a nought on.
Oh, how about that? That's exciting for him. I wish him well.
Thank you. I shall pass that on.
Please do. That's great, Frank. Excellent. Well, tomorrow's probably not going to happen for me, and then Friday, well, we'll see what happens on Friday.
Friday?
Yeah. Sorry, on Sunday.
Next Friday.
Wait a minute. Let me get my days right here. Sunday. Yes, Sunday. I may play a replay. I may do something live. I'll just see where the tide takes us on Sunday. And I've got a message from Mr. Stew as well, because he's got a wonderful little signal function generator, and he's been able to source, and that's really good for the setup here, because I'm using.
You have an urgent need, don't you?
Well, I do. The signal generator here is really on its last legs, so this will add new dimensions. So he's been able to source one from a very big country up north. So that should resource as well. Yeah. So hello to Mr. Stew if you're listening.
Indeed. Hello. How are you, Dave?
And all right. Well, Frank, just play a few things tonight, just to sort of touch base, I suppose, and then we'll sort of work into it as the term unfolds. So the next few weeks are a bit busy. Have concerts, and we've got music camp next week. So I don't know what start I'll be on Friday. We'll see how we go. It's like that. It just goes and fits and starts. So yeah, we'll make it work. But I have to say, I went to a great concert last night while we're talking about sort of housekeeping and various events and such. Henry had a chance, played with the Elysian Ensemble, which is a contemporary music ensemble, and he was able to play with one of Lisa Lim's pieces, and it was a concert at the Recital Centre last night, and it was really interesting. It's a very different musical experience going to a contemporary music concert because the nature of the music is very structured so differently to the way our Western ears have developed.
Yes, indeed.
And some of the performances were just really challenging to listen to because to me it just sounded cacophonous. It just didn't have. I couldn't find any. I suppose you've got to go into this with an open mind and not get too caught up in trying to assimilate it to anything.
You've got to completely suppress expectations.
You do, and it's like listening to nature. It's just a series of events which transmute and find their form. But I do like to hear some level of transparency and something where the sound worlds mix and combine and find different sort of orbits. And there is a sort of an intrinsic structure that can be quite sort of compelling, just through its yin and yang and its musical language. But a couple of the pieces just were so cacophonous and so loud and so just absolute. It's almost like performance art of a different kind.
Loud cacophony is a double-edged sword, isn't it? It gets you from two angles.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of free jazz.
Well, that's cacophonous.
That can be cacophonous, can't it?
I think it's a requirement of it.
Yeah, but it sort of almost becomes just almost self-satisfying and
kind of like Ornette Coleman. Have you heard of Ornette Coleman?
Oh, I have. Yes. It's the sort of crazy stuff, isn't it?
It really leaves me cold.
Yeah. Look, I have to say, this new music is not something I warm to. I've tried to sort of have some connection with it. I've tried to be available to it because it is art music and it's a different aesthetic. And I think although it doesn't sit comfortably, I think it's important to sometimes be out of our comfort zones. And here and there, I'll try and experience a concert like this. But the piece Henry was in, the last piece, it was huge work about time, and it was partly theatrical and had an orchestra of about 30 people. And Lisa Lim's very well regarded is a contemporary Australian composer, and it was actually very well written. You could hear its structural components, you could hear the way that the textures moved from one sort of combination to another, and it had a sort of trajectory, a story where you could sort of follow just follow the, I won't say themes, but follow the textures. Yeah. And I thought it was great. So anyhow, I just thought I'd mention that. It's an interesting experience. But yay, all right, well, let's play a few records, and we'll hear, first of all, I think it's the Boyd Neal String Orchestra we've got lined up.
That's, of course, very nostalgic for me.
Yes, of course, I remember you mentioning that the Boyd Neal
was the Capriol Suite.
The Capriol, indeed. Well, in this instance, I think they're playing a Bach fugue. It's a I'll wrestle the record off the turntable. Let's have a look at it now.
They were in the 50s and 60s, weren't they?
Yes. 40s and 50s particularly.
40s as well, huh?
Yes. And Boyd Neal String Orchestra conducted by Boyd Neal, and it's Bach Fugue in A minor, arranged by Ralph Nicholson. It's an old Decca 78. But I thought it might be a fun way to start off today. Yeah. Here's some JSB. So we'll wait a minute, we'll just kick this into service. I have to make sure that we switch off our SDR, and we'll be right to go. Yes, the music of Bach. And it should work if everything is in tow. Is it in tow? Bear with me. I've got one thing I haven't done yet, and that should work.
Good evening to the listener. While Steve's getting things going.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. There's a plug I had to fix up there, but I think we're right to go. So let's try again. Take two. Are we in business? Maybe, maybe not. Oh dear. I always sort of lament these moments when things don't quite go.
Never mind.
When they don't quite go to plan, it becomes an issue. Let me just start off again without noise reduction. Maybe I haven't got it set on. That might be what it is. That's the problem. Okay, all right. Here we go. We're in business now. Let's have some Bach. Oh, don't you love those ridardendos at the end? Yeah, there we have it. A Bach fugue played by a string orchestra. Nice arrangement, in fact. Yay, all right. That's fugue in A minor. I'm not sure of its origin, to be honest. The other side of this is Benjamin Britten's Simple Symphony. We could play one track of this. It's part of a five-side set. I've got the other records here, but we might just have a little bit more of the Boyd Neals.
Yeah, they're good.
They are good.
They're clean players, aren't they?
They are. It's very British. It's magnificent. Love it.
That's not a denigration.
Not at all. No, look, British musicians are so musical and they're so together. There must be something about the English spirit. They just, they're very homogenous. They're very sort of, no one wants to stand out, so they meld really well.
What musicianship's all about.
It is indeed. Yeah, so we'll hear now, the Boisterous Bourrée, the first movement from the Simple Symphony. From the same set.
I love this Simple Symphony.
Yeah, it's a marvellous work. It's a lot of fun. So
he wrote that when he was very young.
I think he was only about 16.
Something like that.
Yeah, he was really young. certainly had it all together as a young fellow. It was an early work of Benjamin Britten, the Simple Symphony. I think it was written before the Second World War. Yeah, lovely to hear that again. I've played that many times in the past, and it's an enjoyable piece to play.
Refreshing.
It is, yes. Yeah, all right, Frank, we'll move on to a recording of Ronald Franco, the
Ronald, yes.
Yes, remember, he's
Indeed.
all these records were probably sold under the counter with a wink and a nod. And this one's a little bit controversial. It's a bit of fun, really, but there's something a bit cringe about an old man telling women how they should behave. But well, that's what they did. Anyhow, it's called Pros and Cons, and I'll let Ronald tell us the tale. Recorded about probably close to 90 plus years ago.
Hey, Mr. Man.
Yes, little one?
Will you tell me a bedtime story?
Certainly, my dear. Once upon a time, there was a low-down blackguard,
Oh,
and
I know that one.
All right, I'll tell you a story with a moral.
Must you?
Yes, listen. Twice upon a time, a certain lady had a baby, and these twin girls were born during the war, but not because of it. One was called Prunella, and the other Constance, but they were always known as Pro and Con, and you will see how apt were the abbreviations. They were, of course, brought up together, went to a school for young ladies where they learnt everything about life. They went to Paris, where they were guarded against using this knowledge. Now begins the story of the doings of these two, Pro and Con. I'd like to draw a veil over the doings of Pro, but as she hardly ever did herself, there seems no reason for me to do so. She enjoyed, and still does, the advances of many men. With her, familiarity breeds attempt, and this is usually successful. We might gather from this that she makes herself cheap, or anything but. Pro has amassed a considerable fortune in one way or another, chiefly in one. Alas, she cannot enjoy it. I don't think. She is cut by the best people, never invited to shooting or hunting, ignored by the illustrated papers, barring Razzle, and is in fact completely ostracized, except by the Guards Brigade, the Boys Brigade, and tea planters on leave. So much for Pro. Con has chosen a better and finer road. She married a young man with a title. While Pro was turning knight into day, Con was turning knight into a baronet. Now, I'll sing to you about her and her husband. They are just a couple who do everything they ought to do and lead a life that's blameless and correct. Why they lead this peaceful life is due entirely to the wife. She's the sort of woman we respect. Con's the perfect wife for a man. Does every noble thing a woman can. He bought a car the other day, a quite expensive kind. She took it out to learn on. She was sure he wouldn't mind. She drove with all the brakes on, so they've got to be relined. She's the perfect wife for a man. On Saturdays for hours and hours, she makes him water all the flowers. All other wives she seems to be above. On Sundays too, she sends him off to play a single round of golf. Now who could want a finer proof of love? She's the perfect wife for a man. Does every noble thing a woman can. They sometimes give bridge parties, nothing very grand. She must always be his partner, well that we understand. And she bids him up to little slams with nothing in her hand. She's the perfect wife for a man. She's absolutely faithful and doesn't find it grim. No other takes her fancy and her loyalty's no whim. What Pro still gives to many men, she only gives to him. She's the perfect wife for a man. She does what married women should. On it all she thrives. First a boy and then a girl and still her form survives. Though every 18 months or so another one arrives. She's the perfect wife for a man. Does every noble thing a woman can. If he tells a naughty story, she laughs as if it's new. The occasions when they're quite alone, really very few. Then if he says, come here and kiss me, dear, she knows that that's a cue. She's the perfect wife for a man. That's the end of the story, my dear. And believe me, there are many pros and cons in this world. Which are you going to be when you grow up?
What a silly question.
She's only 8.5.
Okay. It sort of reminds me a little bit of what Flanders and Swan were doing.
Yeah, it sort of is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were sort of as double entendre as that, but that sort of patter, that type of presentation.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but
It's like that.
yeah.
Like familiarity breeds attempt.
Yes, exactly. It's true. Yes. While the record's out, I'll play the other side. Yes. what to do with it. This is quite funny. This is also quite out there. Yeah, look, I think they're a bit of fun. They're very much of the times, and it's the sort of stuff that Noel Coward probably would have liked to have said.
I think, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
He'd had the courage.
Yes, exactly.
Hello. Here's a little story about a man from the provinces, very keen amateur photographer, came to London for the first time in his life, going down Regent Street in a taxi with his best girl by his side and his camera all ready to take a photograph of the first thing he saw of interest in Regent Street. And suddenly he put his head out the taxi window and said to the taxi driver, "Do you mind driving slowly? I want to take liberties." The taxi driver said, "Well, I'm sorry, we haven't got a blind, but you can breathe on the window." Of course, the taxi driver wasn't thinking of the shop. Now, here's a little chorus song, as simple as can be. I took it to a publisher. He looked surprised at me, and he told me what to do with it, to do with it, to do with it. He told me what to do with it, and my feelings were terribly injured. Ah, ah. A girl was sitting on a bench. She looked so awfully sweet. A young man said, "I love thee, wench, my heart is at your feet." She told him what to do with it, to do with it, to do with it. She told him what to do with it, and his feelings were terribly injured. Ah, ah. I saw the Loch Ness Monster, said a lassie to her swain. "What noble action shall I take if I see it again?" He told her what to do with it, to do with it, to do with it. He told her what to do with it, and her feelings were terribly injured. Ah, ah. A bill poster brought a poster to a manager with taste. The manager looked at the poster first, and then at the man with the paste, and he demonstrated its utility, demonstrated its utility, and he was really most awfully annoyed. Ah, ah. An architect made a lovely design, and the client hadn't a grass. So the architect sent for a builder and showed him the plans of the house. And he told him how to cope with it, to deal with it, to deal with it. He told him how to cope with it, and his feelings were terribly injured. Ah, ah. There's a naked girl on the 13th floor, said a man at a fire one day. So Harris got a ladder along, and Miles said that's okay. And he told him how to work the thing, to work the thing, to wind the thing. He told him how to erect the thing as though he'd never been used to a ladder before. Ah, ah. A postmaster I know in a Russian town is a man without a soul. Took a Bolshevik labourer into the road and showed him a telegraph pole. And he told him la 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 la. No worse than this. La 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 la. Ah, ah. A man got wrecked on a desert isle where a girl had got wrecked in the past. "Have you saved any food from the boat?" said she. He said, "All I've saved is the mast." She told him what she thought of him, thought of him, thought of him. She told him to go back again, though he was a very bad swimmer. Ah, ah. And this is the end of the chorus song. A merry roundelay. I took it to a publisher. What did the publisher say? He told me what to do with it, to do with it, to do with it. He told me what to do with it. My feelings were terribly injured. That's me laughing at me.
There you go. That's pretty clever, really.
Yeah.
It's one of my
I love it.
I've got a whole shelf of his records, so we'll keep playing them here and there, I think. They're good fun. Yeah, there we go. All right, well, let's move on with a few more things, just a few more. Now, I'm going to play another Music Professor episode on Chopin's Nocturnes. It's a bit of a theme of home at the moment because actually the preludes are more the theme, but Kate's got this marvelous gig and involves playing the music of Chopin, but she's got a friend who's a poet who's she's done a PhD on George Sand.
All right, yes.
And she's going to read her poems about George Sand, and which are loosely biographical, and it tells a story in itself. But she wanted Kate to play some Chopin preludes to sort of support the story in between. Yeah, exactly. They had a 10-year relationship apparently, and I've sort of quite fascinated. I'm looking forward to it very much because I'm sure I'll learn something. But George Sand was evidently, I think we'd sort of know George Sand mainly for dressing up in men's clothes, but. Yeah. it was mainly for, she just didn't want to be chaperoned at night. And
Is that right?
yeah, it was mainly just sort of so she could be an independent spirit,
I don't
really.
think she was trans by
No,
nature at all.
I don't think so. No, not at all. It was just out of convenience and out of just defying the convention so she could be herself without having to always acquiesce, as they say.
It was.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and there's been a lot of Chopin played in this house lately, and now our piano's being reconditioned at the moment. So Kate's been out here in the studio, and I've had to clear a pathway to the pianola, and which was a major job.
Yeah.
And so she's been practicing in here, and it's coming together. And the performance, they might even take it on the road. So it's a lovely union there. So yeah,
Very nice.
it's been really good.
Yeah.
Yay. So lots of Chopin in our midst at the moment. So I thought I'd play a music professor, Mr. King, Professor King, and he's got a little chat called How Chopin's First Nocturne Creates a New World. So I thought this might be a little good way to start. Then we'll play a couple of nocturnes and then call it quits. But yeah, here we go. The music professor, Matthew King. And excuse any YouTubians on the way.
Not without talent. To return to truth and nature. If we look at the first nocturne in B flat minor, a key that Rauschenberg complains about, look at what he throws at you straight away. This beautiful cantilena with the left hand, arpeggiated figures, but in these beautiful tenth-like patterns derived, I guess, from the kind of thing that Field does, but much more elaborate. And then look at these wonderful rhythmic ratios that give you this sort of improvisational effect. Isn't that gorgeous? Fantastic. But the kind of thing that would have seemed weird and neurotic and grotesque at the time. One final thing to bring into the mix, because this is quite fun. The huge literary figure of the time, still alive when Chopin was writing these nocturnes, was Goethe, the German poet. I've got a big copy of his Italian Journey in a much later translation into English by W.H. Auden. And he says something fascinating here, and I think, I've got no evidence for this, but I have a feeling that this fascinating passage may have influenced a passage in Chopin's first nocturne. He says, he's talking about Venice. He'd gone to Venice in the 1780s, many years before this was published. And Goethe writes this: "The singer sits on the shore of an island, on the bank of a canal, or in a gondola, and sings at the top of his voice. The people here appreciate volume more than anything else. His aim is to make his voice carry as far as possible over the still mirror of water. Far away, another singer hears it. He knows the melody and the words and answers with the next verse. The first singer answers again, and so on. Each is the echo of the other. They keep this up night after night without ever getting tired. If the listener has chosen the right spot, which is halfway between them, the further apart they are, the more enchanting the singing will sound." So he's talking about women on the Lido in Venice, and he says, "It is their custom to sit on the seashore while their husbands are out sea fishing and sing these songs in penetrating tones until from far out over the sea their men reply, and in this way they converse with each other. Is this not a beautiful custom? I dare say that to someone standing close by, the sound of such voices competing with the thunder of the waves might not be very agreeable. But the motive behind such singing is so human and genuine that it makes the mere notes of the melody over which scholars have racked their brains in vain come to life. It is the cry of some lonely human being sent out into the wide world till it reaches the ears of another lonely human being who is moved to answer it." And that beautiful description by Goethe of gondoliers singing across the water and their wives hearing them from a distance, and this idea of lonely souls calling across great, huge spaces over the water. This was deeply influential on the younger romantic generation who read it. Mendelssohn, who was a friend of Goethe, had already been influenced by this description in his wonderful Gondel Lieds that he was writing in the late 1820s when he was still a teenager, writing pieces like this. Fantastic piece, not especially like Chopin, and yet you look at the left hand and you can see you've got a third there and another third there, so you get these lovely cross-rhythmic patterns against the rhythm of the right hand. But now let me show you a really magical moment that's very evocative of the Goethe passage I've just read out. This is in the middle section of the first nocturne, Opus 9, is a Chopin. So you have this beautiful passage where the left hand is moving in fifths, almost reminiscent of the beginning of Beethoven 9. The right hand has these wonderful resonant phrases, all built around a seventh. He's just loving the harmony that you get with the seventh and the open fifths in the left hand. And it's marked fortissimo. Pedals down. And then it drops to pianissimo. Now here, listen to this echo, marked pianissimo, legatissimo, like a pedals down all the time here. It's just a echo effect, as if coming across the water. An accent there. Look at this wonderful polyphonic effect in the left hand with the... And then no one had ever done this before, where you simply recapitulate. Look at that B flat just before the melody comes in. And we've just moved from a sort of D flat. Well, what is that? That's in effect A major. But we're not really moving. We're moving from A major to B flat major. This isn't even conventional tonality. It's just a left hand moving around chromatically until it comes to B flat. It's almost like the kind of thing Eric Satie did, 80 years later. Marvellous effect. Anyway, a passage that I think might have been inspired by Goethe, that's just me conjecturing, but it feels like it. And these are wonderful, poetic pieces. Chopin's bringing a new kind of poetry into the vocabulary of piano music. It's just possible that we could venture into other nocturnes. All I've played of Chopin's is his Opus 9, the first set. Well, I haven't played much. I've just given a couple of examples, but it'd be quite fun to go into these pieces in more depth, wouldn't it? Let me know what you think. Please leave some comments. Those of you who are composers, please feel free to contribute when we do open up our piano miniatures again. Let's get some nocturnes. Let's get some new nocturnes. I wrote a nocturne not very long ago. Have a listen to this. So those of you who are composers, come up with your own examples and send them over. Of course, I'm contradicting what I said recently about the piano miniature project, which we've had so many pieces already. There's an enormous backlog. But have a think about nocturnes, start writing them, and then when I give the okay, which might be in a month or two, we'll get some new pieces, some nocturnes. Let's get some nocturnes coming in, and I'll try and premiere some of those on the channel. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, in the meantime, thank you for watching.
Okay, thank you, Professor King. And quite an interesting look at that magnificent nocturne, which we hear a lot here.
Yeah.
Kate plays that one very regularly.
Wonderful.
And I think
Not
it's
easy to play.
No, it's involved in, but I love its melodic shape. I love its quiet melancholy in that main theme. It's a beautiful piece. So I thought that was very interesting in making the connection with Goethe and
Goethe,
yes. I thought that was great. Okay, well, we'll just hear a couple of nocturniums. Now, this one here is one of my faves, and then I'll follow on with a discussion, another music commentator. I'll illuminate the facts after we've heard this, and we'll sort of put this into profile. But yeah, let's have a listen to this. Is Opus 15, number 2. It's a live recording with Joseph Hoffman in 1936. Very poetic.
The first number by Mr. Hoffman is the lovely Nocturne in F sharp major by Chopin.
magic of Joseph Hoffmann there. That cantilena, that singing line, it's so beguiling, it's so beautiful. And the way he dialogues in a voice at the end in the last chorus, it's something that's very particular to Hoffmann. He was able to draw out alternative lines in the middle voices by accenting certain notes. And it gives a sense of this beautiful sort of interplay between musical motives, and you hear it in the last chorus. It's so effective. There's another version of this, and there's a commentary on that particular nocturne, and also one which I think is the greatest nocturne recording of all time, a recording by Friedman. It's very eloquently described by none other than Jed Disler, who was a very famous, or still is a very famous piano commentator, and I think he's got his own podcasts and various things, but he's listed here. And he gives a bit of a chat about two of his favourite nocturne recordings. I think the version we just heard is played by a different artist, and then the famous Friedman one, which he describes just with great delicacy. So let's have a listen. Sorry, I will go back to the start. I'm at my sample point from earlier on. Here we go.
Chopin Podcast is brought to you by the Chopin Foundation of the United States, presenters of the National Chopin Competition in Miami, Florida, January 2025. There are more recordings of Chopin's nocturnes than there are stars in the sky on a dark night. With this in mind, I've asked piano astronomer Jed Disler to search for some of the brightest recordings made of the Chopin nocturnes over the past century to share with us for our stargazing pleasure. Jed has listened to untold thousands of piano recordings in his life and written about many of them for Gramophone Magazine and ClassicsToday.com. He is the host of WWFM's weekly radio show Between the Keys, and in 2021, he was the official gramophone blogger of the International Chopin Competition in Warsaw. At the end of each episode of the Chopin Podcast, Jed will share his thoughts on an exceptional recorded cycle of the given genre, as well as a memorable recording of an individual piece within that genre. Here are his picks for Chopin's nocturnes.
There are so many excellent versions of the complete Chopin nocturnes in the catalog that choosing just one was not an easy task. And after thinking and mulling this over for some time, I decided that I would pick the late, great Nelson Freri and his recording from 2010 of the Chopin Nocturnes for the Decca label. And I think that these performances are characterized by intimacy and lyricism and very subtle textual diversity. And the pianist's approach, I think, has mellowed since he first recorded some of the nocturnes in the early 1970s. In these later recordings, there are so many illuminating details. For instance, in the F-sharp Nocturne, Opus 15, number 2, he slows down in certain parts, which is kind of unorthodox, but he justifies it by a very strong left-hand underpinning. And even the rapid passage work in Opus 27, number 2, which a lot of pianists just kind of fluff off, he really plays it with such poetry and specificity in the articulation. And if you listen to Opus 15, number 3, the phrases just soar in long, melodic sentences that just go over the bar lines. also, he has a very animated treatment of the Opus 62 number 1 in B major, but it still allows room for him to underline a lot of the music's harmonic surprises, and also those long trills just materialize with such control and evenness, and most important, beauty. For an individual recording of a Chopin nocturne, I think that every pianophile in the world agrees that probably the most beautiful and three-dimensional and perfectly proportioned recording of a Chopin nocturne is the Nocturne in E-flat, Opus 55, number 2 by Ignaz Friedman. This is a 1936 recording. And it's an amazing recording because when you listen to the two contrapuntal lines in duet, they almost sound like they're coming from two different pianos in two different rooms, but it's all from one person. And what I find fascinating about this performance is that it sounds very naturally paced and very straightforward in its ebb and flow. But if you listen to it over and over again, you start realizing that not one bar is in the exact same tempo, yet he makes it sound as such. And that just comes from this kind of experience and mastery that you only get from a pianist of Ignaz Friedman's stature.
that was the translucent recording of Ignaz Friedman from 1936, possibly one of the most remarkable piano recordings ever made.
Very moving, really.
Oh, it is. It's just so it floats above the surface. It just has this own whimsical momentum. Oh, I love it. I've heard that many times, and I keep coming back to it, and it's nice to hear it explained so well by Jed Disler. Yeah, good to hear. Well, Frank, I'm going to wind because I haven't got any energy left.
No,
batteries,
that's fine with me.
yeah, batteries on empty.
Yeah.
I realised that tomorrow night's concert, I think we're driving in, so I might be able to do 45 minutes or something at 5.
I'll tune in.
Yeah, look, I'll let you know if I'm not. And I'll say I am because I realise now we're not getting the train, we're driving in. So,
and I can't do Sunday night.
Yes, I've noted that. Thank you. And so, look, I'll try and I'd love to play some jazz records and charge the batteries up a bit tomorrow and see if we can play some more. So that would be good. Yeah, and then looking ahead next weekend, I just don't know. I've got so many things on the radar at the moment. It's just gone back into crazy mode. But look, we'll fit them in where we can.
Sure.
And I'll keep in touch, Frank, about time. So listeners, just tune in if we're here. We're here. And yeah, look, to finish off with, I will play another one of my very favourite recordings of Nocturne is the C minor Opus 48 number 1. And we go back to Mr. Hoffman again because he's a pianist who I feel a personal affinity with. And this shows it's a deep melancholy and something very very vulnerable about this performance. It's late Hoffman, and it's the way he makes the piano sing here in a sort of desperately, almost sad way is just it's a miracle of nature. I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it. Anyhow, so it's a nice way to finish because it is such a special performance. And yeah, we'll wind with this and be back again tomorrow.
Fine, Steve.
Okay.
Good evening to the listener.
Yes.
Good morning. And keep tuned in, and we'll be on soon.
Yeah, we will indeed. Thanks so much, Frank, and thanks, listeners. We'll catch up soon.
You, Steve.
Yeah, I'm vk3sl.
vk3jr.
Until soon.